Hey, shalom, shalom. Halayla Tawab, which is good night. Anak Nawaha Bar Sha'ala. Hawalakim La Adam, Kal Shabuai Baharacha, Wakakshaw, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Mahamat, which is truly hey with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah to preach to so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nacham Adam, Kaya, Hamalak Hashemayim Korah, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Layim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Racha Kodash, Wa Mashana Kabadim Zakoyim Nawa, Wa Malaakim, Shaw, Yashala Zakoyim Racha Wa Chasad, Wa Shalom, Wa Barakim La, Bacharim Shaw Ha, Gawaya Shah Shalom. So all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists by Hashem. In the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. All right, so today's lesson is entitled Bread and Circus, the Super Bowl. All right, again, Amar Shana, Allah Amar Shana to say again, Bread and Circus, the Super Bowl. All right. I actually want to go into the etymology of the word Super Bowl. So I got this word super. It says super, word forming element of Latin origin, meaning above, over, in place or position, also in manner, degree, or measure, over, beyond. For Latin, super, above, over, on the top, beyond, besides, in addition to. This is from super variant of pi root uper, which means over, which that comes from the Hebrew word ibar, which goes into to be over. Let me actually get that. All right, and this is Salat. Yeah. Bro, it's all good. Salat. This is Barashith chapter 10 and verse 24. All right, let me get that word for Eber, which is Ibar, Bahalashwan Kodash in the Holy Tongue. We'll click into it. It says the region beyond. It says region beyond, across, side, opposite side. All right, so that's exactly what it goes into. The word uper or super, it goes into beyond. You know, someone might say Superman. You know, he's beyond man. You know, or someone might say you might put super in front of a word and it makes it beyond. You know, so or it makes it go over. All right, so then you go into the word bowl. Go into the word bowl. All right. And it says, this is the word for palm, the Hebrew word for palm. All right, it says hollow objects, bending objects, bent objects. All right, so it says the hollow hand of or palm, so of the paw of an animal, of the sole, and even of the bowl of a dish or a sling. You see, so it can be applied to a bowl, an actual bowl. Let's scroll down. It says, all right, number 3 on the left. Two from the bottom where it says Psalms, palm branches, so called from their bent or curved form. But I want to get number 3. Shalash, it says a hollow vessel, a pan, a bowl. All right, that's ultimately what it goes into. Super Bowl, Ibar Cop. All right, reason why they chose those words because that goes into to be beyond bent. Now, what I mean by this is, let me get this word. So, Exodus Shamwath 22 and verse 18. I'm gonna get that word for which. All right, and it says kashop. All right, but that ka in it goes into kop, which your kop, the hand. All right, the word for ka would be kop, that which is bent, which we just got. You see, so witchcraft ultimately goes into bending. All right, It's a bend in reality. All right, so that's essentially what goes on in the Super Bowl, because as we see when you go to the halftime show, what do they have? They have like a lot of demonic symbols, a lot of left hand stuff going on, symbolism, and people throwing up signs with their hands, etc., etc. You know, let's get this. This is my show you Proverbs chapter 6. Let's get verse 13. It says, "He winketh with his." I'm gonna start at verse 12. It says, "He winketh with his eyes." Verse 12. "A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers." All right. So ultimately, those types of individuals, that's all what you see in so-called Hollywood. That's what you see in the entertainment industry. And a lot of what you see in the Super Bowl, which Super Bowl actually goes into beyond bent. So beyond, super bent, a bowl that which is bent, that goes into a lot of witchcraft, a lot of sorcery. All right, so I'm gonna get this article real fast. It says, "We interrupt this Super Bowl for a massacre." It says, Will Bunch newsletter. All right, because ultimately going into that Super Bowl, it's not off to watch the Super Bowl, but those that's in the spirit of the world, they ultimately doing like a left hand sacrifice. You got a lot of people, going to those events. I'm gonna get this word real fast. All right, this is the word for Thanksgiving. All right, Tawada. All right, comes from the root word hasharash dabar, yada. It says to throw, shoot, cast, to cast down, throw down, to give thanks, laud, praise. You see, they're pretty much doing that on the left hand side, and that's ultimately why there's a lot of things that happen around the time of the Super Bowl. It says it was 57 years ago this winter that an 8-year-old boy starting to get obsessed with football turned on a newfangled color TV in a I don't know how to say that word, family room to watch the first ever AFL NFL championship game. Since then, I've watched all 58 Super Bowls, a window into an America that changed a lot while not really changing at all. The Chiefs were blown out in that first Super Bowl, won an overtime thriller Sunday night. It was one of the best I've seen. But see right below, it says it was forwarded. So I'm gonna skip down. It says, "Hey, Dark Brandon, stop tweeting memes and starting to working to end the slaughter in Gaza," which in Hebrew that will be Isaiah. Says, "Since the first January afternoon in 1967, when the halftime show promoted peace with the release of 300 pigeons into the blue sky over the 1/3 empty LA Coliseum while U.S. soldiers were dying in the jungles of Vietnam, the Super Bowl has worked overtime to drive an American narrative through diversions of blood sport and pop fantasy." And it's essentially what goes on, because the bread and circus is set up here to ultimately get the people's eyes off of what's actually going on and to push forth that witchcraft. All right. It says, with F-16s in the missing man formation, Whitney Houston foreshadowing the Rockets' red glare of Operation Desert Storm, the blur of patriotism, pigskin, and propaganda is usually none too subtle. This year, however, it was a U.S. armed ally in Yasha'Allah, Israel, that crashed America's biggest party of the year, and things got more than a little awkward. During the game, the predictable flow of is that them celebrities hawking Dunkin' Donuts or TurboTax interrupted Taylor Swift beer chugs, and occasional outbreak of football was jarred by a couple of unusual 7 million apiece spots, one against anti-Sham and another to drive up U.S. support for Yasha'Allah Israel. The Gutter Rats military campaign against Hamas, that ad paid for by the Israeli government's National Public Diplomacy Directorate, started as a warm and fuzzy celebration of fatherhood before its jarring tagline to all the dads held in captivity by Hamas for over 120 days. We vow to bring you home, which a vow goes into a solemn dedication to a lowercase g god, all right, which is an idol. By then, in a digital world where most of us watch the big game with one eye while the other stays glued to a glowing phone or laptop, a deeply unsettling split screen scenario was breaking out. It says, while the bread and circus, you see, of gleeful consumerism and gridiron violence splayed across 48 diagonal diagonal inches, millions were watching horror on their iPhones in real time. A massacre in Gaza City, Rafah, you see. So it's a distraction. It's a bending of the truth, because you do got, Kashap witchcraft goes into a bending of the truth, roughly paraphrasing. So you got the Super Bowl going on. That's the truth, you see. But then you also had that going on, that pretty much tied into that witchcraft. So it says, why are they bombing us? A woman screamed in a medical tent as she waited for a medic to treat her bloody right arm, and her two frightened children looked on. They told us this was a safe zone. Her plea has been viewed at least 12 million times. Indeed, Israel had pushed as many as 1 million civilians to Rafah, which normally has a population of 300,000, on Gaza's southern border, and then urged them to evacuate again, despite there being nowhere left to go. The bombs began bursting over the Palestinian enclave right around the last notes of the Star Spangled Banner in Las Vegas. Some on social media called it a Super Bowl massacre. All right, and again, that's because this man is throwing up his witchcraft. It pretty much goes to the left hand. That's ultimately their plan. Order Abkeo. Problem, reaction, solution. They want to keep the people distracted. All right, because you did have the Super Bowl going on, you see, but that's the reality. But then you got the reality of this going on. It's actually real world events taking place, you see. So I want to get some precepts just going into this. All right, this is Matataya, Matthew chapter 6. Salah, Matthew chapter 6, and start at verse 22. It says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? And this is ultimately what Esau understands. So if you're focused on the truth, you focus on these scriptures, all right, you'll be full of that light, you see. But if your eye is full of evil, all right, you're gonna be full of that darkness, all right. And the scriptures say that gross darkness to people, you see, and that's because Esau puts out his bread and circus. So that darkness in those individuals is great, you see. Great meaning pretty much going into the same word, super, beyond. It's extremely dark. All right, let's go. Let's actually get that. This is Yeshaya, also Isaiah chapter 60, and we're gonna get verse 1. It says, arise, shine, for the light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Let's get his word for darkness. It says chashak. All right, chashak. It says darkness, obscurity, darkness, secret place. It says literally darkness, figuratively misery. It's misery because why else would these people be going to the Super Bowl? You can't afford rent. You can't afford daily living expenses. All right, these people are filled figuratively and literally with the destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, night, obscurity, all of that. It says, hence spoken of a dark place. All right, it says an underground prison. All right, this place is a prison. It says in underground cells. All right, nothing but cells. It says metaphorically, misery, adversity is adversity everywhere. Everybody in this place is under subjection and under servitude. All right, pretty much going into those cells. Let's get Ephesians chapter 6. So Ephesians 6, let's get verse 12. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right, it's, they got witches on 24/7 call. Esau does. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, all right, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. All right, take everything going into, all right, the peace of the gospel of peace, all right, the breastplate of righteousness, all right, and what makes a man righteous in this day, all right, going back to the faith, because the faith is going to allow you to have that fear. It's going to allow you to have that works. You see, ultimately going back to what's written in the word of the Most High. All right, let's get this. Let's get Galatians. Galatians chapter 5 and verse 19. It says, "Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery." All right, it's prevalent in America, Babylon the Great. And they just had an article that said, I'm gonna read it. All right, this article, it says, Salah. It says, HIV, syphilis, chlamydia, all on the rise in North Carolina. All right, and these ultimately go into adultery as well. It says fornication, same thing, uncleanness. All right, pretty much everybody is involved in that bread and circus, which that can go into a form of uncleanness as well. It says lasciviousness. All right, I'm gonna go into his word, lasciviousness. And it says lasciviousness. It's a lot. All right, unbridled lust, excess. All right, where are we at? America, Babylon the Great. The scriptures call this place the land of carelessness. All right, ultimately carelessness. All right, living carelessly. So it says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. All these are in America, Babylon the Great: idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. It says envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. And it's pretty much that darkness that was mentioned in Isaiah 60 and verse 2. And then also Matthew chapter 6, verse 22 and 20 to 23. Or more specifically, verse 23, that evil, all right, the envyings, the murders, the drunkenness, the revilings, the wrath, the strife, the seditions, all right, the uncleanness, and et cetera, and et cetera. All right, let's get John. This is John chapter 8. Look at verse 44a. So it says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning," ultimately going into Cain, "and abode not in the truth, because Esau came back, and the regeneration is Cain. The same spirit, and abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." In 2/3, this pretty much applies to 2/3, you see. But then it can also apply to those that are in America, Babylon the Great, you see, because they ultimately take on the ways of Esau, Edom. All right, let's get Isaiah. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 8. It says, "Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasure, that dwell carelessly." You see, carelessly. I'm gonna get that word. It should go into batak. It says la batak, and it says securely. That they're pretty much secure. All right, in that false sense of security. You see, going back, "That dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day: the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and the great abundance of thine enchantments." That darkness mentioned in Isaiah 60 in the 2nd verse. "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me." Because they was inside that darkness, they feel like they wasn't going to be seen. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, Eve, a time, ill, bad, come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And mischief shall come upon thee, you see, because it said, thou shalt not know from whence it rises, because the scriptures say, the Lord Yahweh Shah is going to come as a thief in the night, all right? And a thief ain't going to be like, hey, knock on the door, boom, 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 boom. And I'm coming to steal your shit, no, like, he coming by surprise. And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and that's pretty much what they're doing. Stand, the word stand goes into imad, which means to continue. Continue now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from the things that shall come upon thee. And that's pretty much what they're doing. They're weary. They're getting, tired. Let's get that word for weary. It says la'ah. All right, la'ah. It says to be weary, be impatient, be offended, be weary, worry oneself, exhaust. They're exhausted. You see, they're exhausted. Going back, it says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor a fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored. Even thy merchants from thy youth, they shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. No one's going to save America, Babylon, and Great, you see, but then Esau as a whole, nobody's going to save him from his predicament that he's got himself into. All right, let's get this. This is Jeremiah chapter 51. Let's get verse 9. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. All right, the scriptures call this place Marathayim. All right, Mara, rebellion, Thayam, or when you put the yam at the end, it makes it plural. Marathayim, double rebellion. So this place is sins have reached to the heavens, like it says in Revelation, the 18th chapter. Let's get that. But this place is not healed. It's not going to be healed because it's already been destined. It's already been prophesied for this place to be destroyed. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 5. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. All right, so this place is going to be rewarded double. Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, double unto her according to her works in the cup which he hath filled to her double. This place is going to be double destroyed, or it's going to be double rewarded. All right, let's get this. This is Quahalath, Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. Let's get verse 15. It says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past. All right. Let me go back to that. It's a lot. Revelation chapter 18 and verse, let me get this word real fast, remember. It says to be mindful of, to remember, to call to mind, to hold it in memory, keep in mind, to make mention of. Now let me go back to this. This is Quahalath. This is not Quahalath. This is Quahalath, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. Let me get this word for requireth. It says to seek, to desire, exact, request, to secure, desire, exact, to be sought. It says inquisition. It says to search out. So inquisition is being made, like the scriptures say, in the counsel of the ungodly. Ultimately, the Lord bringing to mention, to bring back in remembrance, to keep in memory. All right, to search out that which is past. Going back to Revelation chapter 18. All right. You see, so even if, Esau is doing things to try to, regain Babylon or heal Babylon, you see, it's not going to work, I just want to touch on the bread and circus, and ultimately why they do the Super Bowl, because it's ultimately a time where they try to beyond, been beyond. All right, beyond going into super, which comes from ibar, which means to go over, or a passage. It also goes into passage, so a passage to being bent, a passage of wickedness, essentially. All right, but that stuff is not going to work. All right, let me get this. I'm gonna close on this. This is First Shamuel Allah chapter 15 verse 23. It says, "For rebellion is a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king," which is going into King Saul. You see, but it can be applied to Esau. You see, because the scripture say he's been found wanting. He's been found wanting. He's been found lacking. You know, the Lord is making an inquisition. He's searching out his count. He's searching out, his kingdom. All right. He ultimately he uses both witchcraft and rebellion. The scripture just called him Maratayim, double rebellion. We didn't get it, but it goes into double rebellion. All right. So, what happens to a witch? All right. Let's get that. This is Shamwath Exodus chapter 22 and verse 18. It says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. All right, I want to get this as well. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse it's a lot. This is Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 21 says, "Go up against the land of Marathayim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pakwawad, waste utterly and destroy after them, saith the Lord, and do according to all that I have commanded thee," which Marathayim goes into double rebellion. Marathayim, double rebellion, another name for Babylon. Hey, so we see what happens to those that rebel and those that go after that witchcraft. All right, they're going to be utterly destroyed. Hey, so that's the future that Esau, Edom, and those that attach themselves to him have to look forward to. All right, so Adoram Tazah, Zabanayapa, Lord's will. That was a beautiful edification through the Spirit. Wa Adoram Tazah, Atham Yashlay Latawab, Lord's will. You all have a good night. Call Layam La Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Chahakodash, double honor to the elders and apostles. A great millstone that taught me the truth and rule well. And much respect to you bros out there pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Ha Layla Tawab. A good night, shalom.